All right, we're back again with the tricks and the traps of the summary organization task. Now, there aren't a lot of tricks and traps, and we've really gone over them in the previous two videos, but let's go through them specifically on this one. Now, remember, bonus awesome, you do not need to read the entire reading passage to fulfill this task. If you follow the strategy that we've already outlined, and of course maybe take into account some of these tricks and traps and maybe use some of the master skills that you will learn in the next lesson, you could actually fulfill this task without even reading the reading passage, even if you don't know the information that you're talking about. However, it's best to use some skimming and scanning to check to make sure that your answers are perfect. All right, so the tricks of this task type. First of all, answer choices which appear to be details, but actually are summary statements. This is one of the tricks because I'm sure that the makers of the exam assume that since some of the answers are details and therefore they don't represent a summary, if they put a lot of details into a summary statement, then the person will think, well, it can't be a summary, even though it's a long statement. But if it's really important information, which does it best describe the entire passage, even if it has details in it, it can still be a summary statement. So that's one of the tricks, using answer choices which have a lot of detail, but they actually are summary statements. So if they contain details that are very important to the whole passage, they may be a good summary statement. So don't fall for that trick. Answer choices which are very short, but actually are summary statements. Now, if you've seen from some of the examples, there are sometimes answer choices which are very short statements, but it might be very important information. So a summary statement does not have to be a very long sentence. The most important thing is, does it summarize the important points of the reading passage? All right, the last one, answer choices which are very long, and I just alluded to that before. So they appear to be a summary statement, but just because they're a long statement does not mean that they are a summary. In fact, there's at least one example in the examples we have in this course where the long statement has details about something which was an example of some other point that they were making. So therefore, it wasn't really important information to summarize the entire reading passage. So those types of statements, if it's a very long statement and it seems like a summary, it usually contains information which is not really that important. For example, an example of something. So the traps for this one are directly related to the tricks. The traps are thinking that just because it was a long sentence with a lot of detail that it can't be a summary because of the detail. Thinking that just because it was a short statement that it can't be a summary, it can. And thinking that just because it was a long statement, it must be a summary because it doesn't have to be, as I just explained up here. And the last one, as with all of these tasks and questions, overthinking it. So in a lot of situations where maybe you're getting confused and you're not sure about the difference between one or the other, go with your gut. You know, to use the American English phrase, I don't know if they use that in British English, but when we say go with your gut feeling, it's the one that, probably the one that you thought of first. You know, if you're having difficulty, as I mentioned in the previous videos, and it's taking more than 2 minutes, then definitely just pick whichever one you think is the best answer and go with that one. And I just realized that these ships appear to be flying backwards. It's a good thing that in this course we are flying forward. So make sure that you are aware of these tricks and traps and follow the strategy, and you won't be flying backwards. You will be flying forward into TOEFL Excellence. I didn't even plan that one. All right, so that's it for the tricks and traps, and we will see you in the next lesson about the master skills.